I hope you're having a great day. And today's video is how Darth Vader's Legends comic books can fit in the perfect timeline of the current canon. So what I mean by this is that Star Wars Ghost Prison, Star Wars Vader Lost Command, Star Wars The Ninth Assassin, all those stories could honestly fit in canon. They didn't need to be legends because they fit perfectly in the timeline of the new Vader comic books. And the reason we're talking about this is because I read Vader's 2015 comic book and 2017. I never read the 2020 version yet, but when I was rereading the legends, they fit perfectly fine into the canon timeline. Literally, like, the stories are not like focusing on the rebels or anything. It just focuses on Vader, which Vader does his own things in his own canon. So, like, the first book we'll talk about is Ghost Prison. Ghost Prison is a very simple story that takes place a few months after the Empire rises. And in the 2017, Darth Vader's comic book takes place in the Rise of the Republic. Rise of the Republic. This literally takes place after the movie Revenge of the Sith. So this story, Ghost Prison, can literally fit in, let's say, 8 months after. Therefore, we can still get the story of Vader getting his lightsaber and all of that, but now we get to explore the story of the not the corruption, more of like, we can say corruption of the Empire, because in this story, there's people who saw the truth within the Empire of what happened to the Jedi's and what's really going on. And so they pretty much did a rebel against within the Empire and almost succeeded. Literally almost killed Emperor Palpatine, almost kind of taking down Vader. They literally almost succeeded if they pushed harder and if they had a more support, the Empire would end it right there. You'll see it if you read the story, but yeah, so it's really simple, and this is how the rest of it is going to be, because Darth Vader Lost Command, simple story. Because all these books takes place the early stages of the Empire, which they still use clones, because they didn't replace the clones until 5-10 years later, because the clone army is so vast, and also to replace them that fast is going to take time and training, of course. But in this story, The Lost Command, it's really good because it really explores Vader's trauma and his decision of going to the dark side to save Padme instead of staying to the light. Because in the second issue, it shows the flashback of Padme and him having a kid, Jyn Skywalker, and it was so cool. I was like, man, this could have been a story right there. And so they could really bring this story back into canon, because the whole premise of finding Tarkin's son, because he was lost in the Lost Nebula or something. He got lost in space, and Emperor Palpatine ordered Vader to go help Tarkin to find his son. And it was a simple story because it explored more about Vader's inner hormones and his path to stay where he is. Because at the end of it, he let go of the past and stays focused on who he is now. And also, spoilers, he found Tarkin's son, and the enemy's not happy for that. But it's a really good also display of Vader's power too, because Vader's suit is damaged, his mask is broken, and he uses the Force to tear down the whole cave system because he got trapped in there. But that's like a whole explanation story right there. But this is more just about how that would fit, because this story doesn't explain where it fits in the timeline, but we can push this easily a year after or a year later, like maybe 2 years. So that story could easily fit in there because it's still in the beginning stages of the Empire and clones still being used. So it won't be like, oh, retcon this, or it's not fitting the canon because of blah, blah, blah. And so it fits perfectly fine. And because in 2017 comic book literally takes place after the Revenge of the Sith. So if they really want to, they could really make this comic book series of Vader's lost stories into the canon, make him canon, and really just put like, oh, Vader's lost stories, and just do little timestamps. Therefore, it could be like, oh, okay, during this time between this and this, he did this mission and this that happened and this that. Don't get me wrong, I love the new canon versions of Vader's. A lot of detail and a lot of exploration of his character and Palpatine. But I just really love the stories of Ghost Prison and Lost Command, because those two are my top favorite Legend books. Because it really shows like Vader's challenge. Because in the Ghost Prison, he could easily take down the Emperor Palpatine if he wanted to. In Lost Command, he could, same thing, he could have done something else. He could train out more of the past on showing done this and that. I just really love the stories. I know the explanation's not that great, but I didn't really like want to explore the whole story of it. And so in the 2017, this is how I would have done it: is we start with 2017 Vader comic book, and then you do Vader's Ghost Prison. That will be 8 months in. And then after that, you'll do Darth Vader Lost Command. That will be 2 years later. And then the last story could be like Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin. That last story could take place literally any point in the time, like, because that is still early ages. So we could do like year 5 or year 4 or year 9. Something like where the clones are still relative and where this is still the early ages, because this story doesn't have a timeline either, but it more focused on kind of Vader, but it's more about Vader being hunted by an assassin because he killed this dude's son, because they have this dude's rich dude having issues with Palpatine and the whole political issue, which I have no problem with. But this story is like not my favorite in of the Vader comics. It's more like a good side story or like a side mission. Like it's a really fun story. That's all I gotta say. But this story could be the last one for the timeline. So this is how we're gonna do it. So in 2017, the Vader comic comes out. Then we got the Ghost Prison that comes in between Ninth Assassin and Lost Command. So in Ghost Prison, 8 months. Then Lost Command will do 2 years. And then Ninth Prison, we could do Ninth Assassin, Ninth Prison. Ninth Assassin, that will be year 4. Let's just do year 4. Because like, all you're doing is just fit it in the timeline. It's just stretching out the story and time and place. Because the Ninth Assassin is a very simple story, and there's not really much for me to explain because it's been a long time since I read the Ninth Assassin, because it hasn't left a really good impression besides the character design of the assassin. He looks like more like a mini Vader with his own mask and stuff. But personally, if anyone's watching this and if you guys agree with my thoughts about it, just let me know, because I would like to get your thoughts on what Star Wars stories could fit in the canon.
Have a great day, guys.
And so forth.
Take care.